Messy condo. Nobody wants your shit. The art of decluttering before you die. Most people spend their lives acquiring stuff. They buy, collect, inherit and store, building personal archives that grow quietly in closets, garages and storage units across the world. But what happens to these collections when they're gone? The Swedish concept of dostadning, or death cleaning, offers a refreshing alternative to this cycle of accumulation. Despite the name, death cleaning isn't morbid, it's life-affirming. It invites us to rethink our relationship with our possessions, asking what truly deserves space in our lives right now. This blink offers practical approaches to align your living space with your actual life, freeing up breathing room for yourself and easing future burdens on loved ones. In the process, you'll also discover unexpected benefits that reach far beyond a tidy home. Let's get started. The hidden cost of keeping everything. What if the greatest gift you could give your loved ones was absolutely nothing? Your children will someday stand in your cluttered garage, holding up a box of old cables from computers that died in 2003, wondering why on earth you kept them. Sound familiar? It's a familiar but uncomfortable truth, one that inspired a movement called dostadning, or death cleaning. Despite the name, this practice is surprisingly life-affirming. Death cleaning means gradually clearing out your possessions while you're still alive and capable of making thoughtful decisions about what stays and what goes. Rather than asking, "Will I need this someday?" you ask, "Does this deserve precious space in my life today?" Every item you avoid deciding about becomes a decision your family will have to make later. Take Maria. For years she's been saving boxes of university textbooks for her daughter. But her daughter is now a lawyer and doesn't need scientific textbooks that are increasingly out of date. When Maria eventually passes, her daughter will end up tossing the books, with the added downside of feeling guilty for not honouring her mother's wishes. Maria's clutter will become her daughter's burden. But beyond just being considerate to future family members, death cleaning changes your daily life. People who've embraced this mindset report sleeping better, feeling less anxious, and experiencing remarkable clarity about their priorities. The practical benefits flow naturally. Less laundry, easier cleaning, and actually being able to find your keys when you need them. Death cleaning teaches that your possessions should enhance your life, not complicate it. By deciding what to let go of now, while you can, you create space for what truly matters. Experiences, relationships, and peace of mind. Your legacy becomes the gift of freedom for both yourself and those you love. A museum of your former self. Sarah's bread maker has sat unused since 2019, yet she clings to it, convinced she'll rediscover her passion for baking. Meanwhile, she buys bread from the store every week. Mike's closet overflows with business suits from his corporate days, though he's been happily freelancing in sweatpants for 3 years. What connects these scenarios? Both people are curating museums to their former selves rather than living in spaces designed for who they are today. Your home should reflect your current reality, not past aspirations or imagined futures. That exercise bike doubling as a clothes rack, those craft supplies from your brief scrapbooking phase. Each item represents a version of yourself that existed more in aspiration than action. While your personal identity naturally evolves, your possessions may remain frozen in time, creating a disconnect between who you were, who you are, and who you think you might become. The someday mentality fuels this problem. You convince yourself that keeping 20 just-in-case items will save money down the road, but storage costs, whether financial or spatial, often exceed any future savings. That spare vacuum cleaner taking up closet space for 3 years could have been replaced for less than what that storage space is worth. Time constraints provide another convenient excuse. But consider how many hours you spend scrolling social media or watching television each week. Decluttering doesn't require marathon sessions. Start with just 5 minutes each day. This modest commitment builds momentum that naturally expands when you have more time and energy. Major life transitions are a perfect opportunity to declutter. Career changes, relationship shifts, or moves naturally prompt the question, does this item belong in my current chapter? Use these moments to actively curate possessions, rather than passively accumulate them. Another excuse for keeping unnecessary items is to preserve memories, but ultimately, memories exist independently of physical objects. Those ragged old t-shirts you never wear, that box of concert tickets from college. Take a photo and create a digital memory album. You'll have the same visual reminder without surrendering valuable living space. Every possession you own should actively contribute to your current life satisfaction. If it doesn't, you can help it find a new home with someone who will genuinely appreciate it. Sarah's bread maker could delight an actual baking enthusiast. Mike's suits could launch someone's corporate wardrobe. The goal isn't minimalism for its own sake, it's creating living spaces that serve the person you are today. When your environment aligns with your actual lifestyle, you'll find more than just physical space. You'll discover mental clarity, reduced anxiety, and the freedom to focus on what matters in your life now. Reopening Pandora's box. Lisa carefully packs up clothes she hasn't worn in 2 years, planning to donate them. 3 months later, the box still sits by her door. One day she decides to just peek inside, and suddenly rediscovers a college sweater that floods her with nostalgia. She keeps half the box's contents, even though she never wears any of it. A year passes and she's back where she started, with the same unworn clothes claiming closet space. This scenario reveals how our emotional relationship with possessions often sabotages our best intentions. It's strange. The process of boxing up items creates a psychological limbo where objects become simultaneously wanted and unwanted. The moment you rediscover something you'd forgotten for months, proving you didn't need it, you trigger powerful attachment and nostalgia. Your brain tricks you into believing these items matter, despite clear evidence that they don't serve your daily life. This emotional interference extends to the issue of family inheritance. Many people hoard items, believing they're preserving treasures for the next generation. But are they? Demographics are changing. Fewer people are marrying and having children, making traditional inheritance plans potentially irrelevant. More importantly, any deeply personal connection to objects doesn't magically transfer to family members who may have completely different interests and lifestyles. That china set from your grandmother might mean everything to you but nothing to your daughter who prefers casual dining. Instead of forcing family members to accept unwanted inheritances out of guilt, consider finding non-relatives who would genuinely treasure these items. A collector might cherish your vintage books, while your children see them as storage problems. Many people have accumulated so much, they've lost track of how much they really own. They become acclimatized to seeing everything, making it impossible to distinguish between objects that deserve space and those that have fulfilled their purpose. Death cleaning addresses this by requiring conscious decisions about present value rather than past meaning. You need to make a regular, intentional assessment to break this pattern of unconscious accumulation. The key is trusting your initial decluttering instincts and avoiding Pandora's box syndrome, or the urge to revisit and second-guess sound decisions. Like Lisa, who reopened her donation box. Approach decluttering with an attitude of gratitude for the past service objects have given you, instead of feeling guilty about letting them go. Thank that college sweater for the memories it provided, then release it to someone who will actually wear it. When you resist the emotional pull to rediscover and reaccumulate, your possessions finally begin serving you rather than controlling you. You can honor your important memories while making practical decisions about what belongs in the here and now. Building your clutter-busting muscles. Effective decluttering isn't about summoning superhuman willpower or achieving Zen-like detachment from material possessions. It's a systematic process with learnable techniques that anyone can master. The foundation begins before you touch a single item. Spend time researching your local donation landscape, like which charities accept what types of items, where you can drop off electronics, And who might take those books you've been meaning to get rid of? This preliminary work prevents the common trap of creating donation limbo, where bags of items sit around for months because you haven't figured out where they actually need to go. If you're considering selling anything, do the math first. Research actual market values and factor in the time required for photographing, listing, and coordinating pickups. Most people discover that their old stuff is worth far less than they imagined, and the hourly rate for selling it falls well below minimum wage. When it's finally time to declutter, make sure to start small. That way, you'll build the decision-making muscles you'll need for harder choices later. Begin with obvious wins like expired medications, broken items, or clothes that no longer fit. Making calls like these takes minimal emotional processing and creates immediate visible progress. The goal isn't to tackle your entire house in a weekend. It's to develop confidence in your ability to make good choices about what deserves space in your life. Establish clear, specific criteria for keeping items, rather than making decisions based on vague feelings. The 6-month rule works well for most categories. If you haven't used something in half a year, it's probably not adding value to your life. Apply the use it or lose it principle to abandoned hobbies and impulse purchases that seemed important at the time, but are now gathering dust. And remember, avoid keeping items solely because you think someone else might want them someday. That's just transferring your indecision to another person. Pay attention to your clutter magnets, areas or pieces of furniture in your home that mysteriously attract stuff. These could include the chair in your bedroom that's covered in clothes, the kitchen counter that becomes a mail sorting station, or the dining table that turns into a catch-all for random items. These spots reveal important information about your actual living patterns versus your intended ones. Sometimes the solution is removing the clutter magnet entirely. Other times, it's accepting reality and creating better systems around how you actually use your space. Save emotionally complex items for later in the process, when your decision-making skills are stronger. Sentimental objects require different handling than practical ones, and processing them can be mentally exhausting. When you do tackle meaningful items, focus on distilling collections down to their most powerful representatives, rather than keeping everything. For example, if you have a box of your grandmother's dishes, you might keep the 2 hand-painted teacups you remember using and release the rest. The goal isn't to erase memories, but to curate them thoughtfully. If this process feels hard at first, don't worry. It'll become easier with practice. As you develop your skill set, you'll notice the benefits compound quickly. Less stuff means less cleaning, less organizing, and less mental energy spent managing your possessions. The unexpected rewards of less. After stumbling upon the practice of death cleaning, Sarah cleared her cluttered home office and discovered something unexpected. Her workplace decision-making improved noticeably. The daily practice of quickly evaluating whether items deserved space in her home had strengthened a broader mental muscle. She began cutting through professional clutter with the same efficiency, prioritizing essential projects, declining pointless meetings, and focusing on work that actually advanced her career. This skill transfer happens more often than people anticipate. Successfully transforming a chaotic space into something functional proves you can tackle challenging projects and honor commitments to yourself. This psychological victory often creates momentum for addressing other neglected areas, whether it's organizing your finances or finally pursuing that creative project you've been postponing. The confidence boost feels genuine because it stems from an accomplishment that's both concrete and visible. You've literally reshaped your physical environment through sustained effort, providing tangible evidence of your capability to create meaningful change. Owning fewer things also changes how you relate to money and experiences. After major decluttering projects, many people naturally channel would-be purchases into travel, classes, or activities rather than adding more items to manage. They come to see that space itself has value, that empty surfaces and uncluttered rooms create a calm worth preserving. This shift reshapes how you evaluate new purchases. Instead of asking only what something costs in dollars, you also weigh its spatial and upkeep costs. Will it truly enrich your life enough to justify the room it takes and the attention it demands? Eventually, decluttering will transform from a one-time or occasional marathon to an ongoing practice. Bob discovered that maintaining his decluttered space requires only 15 minutes of weekly attention, compared to the months his initial overhaul demanded. He now automatically notices when areas start accumulating unnecessary items and addresses them immediately, preventing the overwhelming build-up that originally motivated his transformation. Yes, the heavy lifting needs to happen once, but the awareness will become second nature. You'll develop an internal radar for creeping clutter and be able to address it before it regains momentum. A simple, sustainable habit that'll preserve the mental clarity and physical freedom you've worked so hard to create. The main takeaway of this Blink to Nobody Wants Your Shit by Messy Kondo is that death cleaning, the Swedish practice of decluttering while you're still alive, benefits both you and your loved ones. By shifting from the mindset of, what if I need this someday, to, does this deserve space in my life today? You create a home that reflects who you are now, not who you once were or aspire to be. This process develops skills that extend beyond decluttering, improves your daily life with less to manage, and prevents burdening family members with decision-making down the road. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you soon.